Friday, everybody. Welcome back to the Fumble Live. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, you need to get on that. Press that subscribe button right now. Also, tap the bell for notifications. Give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment below and share it with your friends. Here is the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
Happy Friday, guys. It's your girl, Jackie Ray. You can follow me everywhere at JRay the Fanatic.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Britt Johnson. You guys can follow me on all social media at I am Britt Johnson.
Okay, you guys, let's get into some news. We have an update about the NBA and next season. So we've been talking about this all week, but yesterday the NBPA player reps voted, and it was all completed last night, and they decided to approve a December 22nd start date. So that means we'll have basketball back before the year ends, which is exciting for fans, but we've talked about this before. The teams that were in the bubble up until the bitter end are going to have less time to rest and recover, and they might be missing some critical downtime that they'd need during this shortened off season. So the season will consist of 72 regular games with fines to agree on financial terms for an amended CBA, and they're also discussing moving free agency up as early as possible to accommodate players joining new teams so close to a December 1st start of training camps. So Britt, do you feel that this is all too much too soon in such a short amount of time, or do you think that the athletes will be able to adjust to that shortened off season, for those who did have a shortened off season, and bounce back into a season pretty quickly?
So for the first part, yes, it is too much too soon, especially for that free agency thing, which is why we talked about the fact that like these owners or whatever have been like, oh, have they been talking to players and all that kind of stuff? Because of this moment right here, like literally they have free agency that starts like next week, and then they have such a short time. All while they're like literally 2 days later their draft starts, so they're like literally trying to like double up on like doing their free agency and their draft at the same time, because we all know before the draft happens first in June, and then it's like the first week of July that we have free agency, so the teams can like, you know, worry about the draft, figure that out, and then after they figure out who they've selected, then see what other pieces that they need moving forward, and then have in July free agency start, and then the season not start till October. So like everything literally happening in 2 weeks, and it's Thanksgiving break, and then Adam Silver already gave everybody every Friday off for the whole, like, what is happening here? Like, this is so much, like, this is crazy. So I think that in and of itself is like, it's like giving me anxiety, and I've already had enough anxiety this week with this election. Right. And then two, the players trying to figure that stuff out with, you know, like everything going on in the world alone, and then having to try to figure this stuff out, and then holidays out and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's just like a lot really, really fast. And it's going to be a crap show. Like that's one thing I can guarantee from this. This is going to be a show. I'm glad I don't work for the NBA or anybody with the NBA at this time, because we can sit back and just eat our popcorn and just report on all the craziness going on. But it is going to be crazy for sure.
It is going to be crazy. It is so condensed. Things are moving so quickly. I mean, obviously, I'm missing some important time that teams really are going to need. So, Jackie, going to you for my second question, is there a storyline that you're most looking forward to for the upcoming season? Anything that you're going to be paying close attention to?
Injuries, for sure. I'm going to be paying close attention to that, especially but like Britt said yesterday, a body at rest stays at rest. So they actually might be on the short end of that stick as well, because now they're going to have to rush to get back into basketball shape, because being in regular shape is not the same as basketball shape all the time. So I think I'm going to be keeping a close eye on injuries, and just to see how that plays out, and just to see how load management is working. That's going to be the storyline for every single team. So obviously we'll keep a close eye on that. And then we'll talk a bit about KD later, but I also want to see how that happens between him and Kyrie. Like, what is that dynamic going to be? And if LeBron is going to do exactly what he told us he was going to do on his HBO Shop Talk show, if he's cherry picking games at the beginning of the season, like, how does that impact, you know, the rest of the season? So I think that's going to be the storyline for every team, though, is what stars are taking a break and cherry picking what, and then who's getting hurt because they weren't fully prepared because we came back too quick. And those are terrible storylines, but I think that's what we got. going into this, just because it's too rushed.
Yeah, Jackie, to your point, I remember when the league first started having, I mean, Popovich was known for resting players and stuff during certain games, and everyone kind of took the lead from there because he had like an old, Tony Parker at the time and stuff like that. So the main issue, once we did start having this new era of load management and stuff like that, is we still don't know about fans in the stands. Are we going to have fans in the stands? What's going to happen? How the season is even going to play out? Are there going to be everybody playing in their own empty stadiums? Is it going to be whatever? Say we do have fans in the stands or whatever it is, depending on the laws of that state. People are going to get really upset when all these players are taking those days off and they bought tickets to go to a game because they wanted to see LeBron James play on the road against the Dallas Mavericks, and they're in Dallas, and they go and buy tickets to go see this game, and they show up and LeBron James decides not to play. That is what we have had in the past happen. Fans getting so mad that they pay all this money weeks and months ahead of time, book trips out to go see some star player that they really want to see play in a certain city, and then they show up that day and that player is on load management and not playing. And then so it's like, yes, in a moment we're like saying, oh, well, this is great for the fans, but how great is it for the fans when they're not getting to see their favorite players play if we do have a situation where fans will be allowed in arenas again? Like, that is something that we have dealt with like the last few years by having this situation and fans getting so pissed off about paying all this money and traveling. If you live in some podunk town in Texas and you're traveling 4 hours and bought these tickets way in advance because you want to see somebody that you love that's, doesn't normally play out here, and then to have that moment and go and the person ain't even playing, like, that's going to be like terrible for the fan base as well. So all this load management that we're going to see across teams is going to be, it's going to make numbers go down anyway for like viewership, because people are going to watch games when LeBron isn't playing and so isn't playing on this team, and then games at the arena are going to suck too because you're not going to see star players playing in random cities anymore when people pay to go see that.
Yeah, and they need to stop doing the blackouts too, because here in LA, if the Lakers are on, if the Lakers are local for some reason, we don't get to see those games, and you really need to stop doing that, because just like Britt said, Laker fans are going to watch their game regardless of if LeBron's playing or not. Clippers are going to watch their game if Kawhi's not playing. But if we can't actually see it, then there's a problem. And I totally agree with that, because that's one of the things I hate. You're going to have to tap into that local fan base, because if some random person gets it in their town and they tune in and LeBron's not playing, then it's like, oh, okay, well, let me go watch the first 48, or something like that. Yeah. They're not going to stay with that game. So they need to figure out their marketing strategy, because viewership is already an issue. So they need to make sure that fans can actually view the games that they want, that are important to them, and the players they want as well. Right.
And we got 6 weeks to figure that out. Less than, so it's like,
but I feel like we're really good on the short time at figuring. We should just figure it out for them, because I feel like we're really good at figuring out these types of things. So
we are.
Let's just do it.
On the Fumble, I feel like we're constantly handing out like marketing proposals and plans for different people all the time for free, I might add. So these people need to start listening.
We need some checks over here.
And we do need some checks, please. You guys, let's talk about some football news. So I'm sure you all heard sources say that the NFL is going to be fining the Raiders $500,000 and Coach John Gruden $150,000. They're also stripping the team of a 6th-round draft pick, all for COVID-19 protocol violations related to Trent Brown's positive test that came about in late October. Escalated fines and that 6th-round pick is all due to being a repeat offender. So this is the league's most serious punishment for COVID-19 violations by a team, and people were reacting to the news online, tweeting things like, "Bro, the NFL hates the Raiders. Titans got no punishment though, LMAO." And then another tweet that says, I swear the NFL always after the Raiders. Good thing we're the only team with COVID issues. The Titans also, only got a $350,000 fine 2 weeks ago, and they were caught on video, but people were saying their punishment was less severe because they weren't repeat offenders. So Jackie, going to you first, does this difference between the Titans' punishment and the Raiders make sense to you?
Of course it does. I mean, Gruden, first and foremost, you could just really center this punishment around him. That man got fined, was told to wear a mask. He still didn't wear a mask, and then got fined again, and then came out with some weird panty-looking half mask thing on his face. Like, he clearly doesn't care, and it trickles downhill. You know what I mean? Like, you whatever your leaders do is what you should fully expect your players to do. So yeah, I think you do have to come down harder on the Raiders, because they have just kind of really shown that they don't care about COVID. Maybe they think it's not real or whatever, but they haven't been doing what they're supposed to do. So you need to make an example of them, because they haven't shown that they care about the protocols that the NFL has put about and the pandemic that the entire country is facing. So you have to make an example of them so other teams don't follow suit. The Titans, it was their first offense. So yeah, we're going to give you this slap on the wrist, but hey, direct your attention over there to Las Vegas, because this could be you. So yeah, I think the NFL handled this one entirely correct, and the Raiders should really know better, but their leaders don't know better. So this is what I fully expect from them. But yeah, this was the right call by the NFL.
Because I was looking at the Twitter responses, and Raiders fans are very salty, and a lot of them have a very
Raiders fans
victim mentality.
throw batteries. They throw batteries at people. They travel to stadiums with sticks and stuff. These are not the most rational people. You need to search through those Twitters and find somebody that's not from Oakland or is not a Raider fan, and see if they're exercising common sense. Because if you a Raider fan, I can't take you seriously. I just can't.
Yeah, no, and just looking at those Twitter responses, if you guys want to do that after the show as well, it's it's very interesting to see how they're reacting to it. So, Britt, I want to ask you the same question. Does the difference between the Titans' punishment and the Raiders make sense to you? And how do you feel about the magnitude of the punishment the Raiders received?
Yes and no, and I'm going to say this on several different things. It makes sense because, yes, I do believe that everybody hates the Raiders fan base. I do believe the NFL hates the Raiders. They worked against them many times to try to make sure they didn't get that stadium, and then that's why they moved to Vegas and stuff like that. And so, and I do believe, I don't believe it was necessarily fair, because when I did talk about the Titans situation and, you know, like the videos and all that kind of stuff, their coach has been seen without a mask as well, you know? So I'm just like, and their coach never got fined for not having a mask on. And obviously John Gruden has done it continually. John Gruden is a bigger face. Everybody knows him, you know, obviously he commentated and stuff for 10 years before he went back to coaching again and stuff. So everybody kind of knows him on a different level. And honestly, I think the Raiders just have a bigger stage than the Titans do. I honestly don't know one single Titan fan. I've never met a Titan fan in my life. I just feel like they don't have like as many eyeballs on them. So I get that the NFL is trying to make a statement with what they're doing. And John Gruden has continually, even though he has gotten fined, because this is his second fine personally, and then this is the team's second fine as a team. So now the team has paid almost $2 million total in fines for not wearing like a mask or not following protocol or not whatever. So, I mean, I just think they don't care. Like it's one of those incidences. It reminds me of like, I feel like they're all being Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson knew that he had to wear a suit, and he was supposed to wear a suit walking into that stadium or that arena before games, and he wore his street clothes. He knew he was going to get fined every single game, and he didn't care. He just took those fines and kept wearing whatever he wanted, and that's what the Raiders are doing. So now I think with taking away draft picks, I mean, who cares about a 6th-round draft pick? Honestly, like, that's nothing. Taking away a 6th-round draft pick means nothing, and so I don't think, honestly, they're punishing them enough, because the Raiders clearly just don't care. The Titans, I think, once a situation happened with them, they learned from it, and then they've been better since then. Their coach wears his mask now. They're following whatever. But the Raiders just don't care, so keep on finding them. Keep doing whatever you guys need to do. Keep taking away more stuff, because they don't care. So it is what it is.
I wonder if this is going to set the NFL in motion and other teams in motion to finally start paying attention, but I don't know, and following the rules, but I sort of feel like that's not going to happen. I do want to add, I know one Titans fan, so I guess the scarce fan bases, we know each other. We can like relate to each other.
And the Titans, you guys just team up together.
Y'all just support group.
And then Jackie, before we move on into the post-up, I want to ask you what you think about the gravity of that punishment that they received. Are you with Britt? Do you think it's not enough, or do you think it's fitting for the protocol violations that happened?
I think it's fitting. I definitely don't think they need more right now, only because the NFL was a little slow on setting these protocols in place. That memo that went out to all the teams came out a little late. It should have come out before they even took to the field for game one. So they were a little late in sending that memo. So I think this is adequate. But I agree with Britt. Like, you couldn't find me $300 and think I'm a still, because I just want my money. I'm not going to just give you my money, for something that is just easy for me to throw on a mask. You have to just flat out not care. Or maybe you want to show the world, because, we've seen that. We've seen the Karens that are out and saying that it's not a requirement that I wear my mask. The virus is not real. And so their statement to show that is they're not wearing a mask. So maybe this is John Gruden's protest, and his way of trying to show us that he doesn't think we're all crazy or whatever. I don't know, but if that's how you want to protest, that's cool. But you're gonna pay us this money for it. You're gonna give us this money. He's
trying to show that he is a Karen. So we've accepted you as a Karen.
He kind of looks like he could be a Karen. Like,
if you put a
I don't know if like a Karen were like a female. I don't know. Just throw a wig on John Gruden. Like, picture it. And then put a phone next to his ear. Like, John Gruden.
Can I speak to your manager, please?
Oh, God.
Oh,
well, I wonder if this is going to just like be the thing that he needs to just finally wear a mask. I don't understand why people make it such a big deal. It's really not that hard to put a mask on. It doesn't negatively impact you in any way. Just do it.
My mom called it. She says the people who don't want to wear a mask is because their breath is super funky and they just don't want that continually flashing back
to smell their own.
They don't want to do that.
I just don't get it now. We're 8 months into this. I saw a lady at the Americana yesterday. Like, I was out eating, and she threw an actual tantrum because the security guard came over to her and asked her to put a mask on. Like, first of all, you're in California. You know the rules here. Right. Don't come outside. Like, we're 8 months in this. Like, aren't you tired of arguing every single time you go somewhere? Just put the mask on and be quiet.
Yes, I just don't like people in my face like that. Like, even if I thought the virus wasn't real, I just don't want people, don't get in my space. I'll wear the mask just to keep you out of my face.
Exactly.
I don't understand how people don't have that.
8 months in, we're 8 months in. You know the rules.
I know.
And the NFL just gave you the memo last week. We're 8 months in. You know.
Right.
It's been a long time. We had a lot of time to get used to this. And also, for those of you who do have bad breath, if that is the reason you're not wearing a mask, first of all, it's done. Second of all, invest in a toothbrush, toothpaste, a tongue scraper, and some floss. You'll be good to go. I promise. Yes, Listerine.
Let's make kits. We should just make little kits for people and like hand them out on the. Like, go to all the little places where people are doing these no mask protests and have little masks and little like toothbrushes, toothpaste, little kits that we just hand out to them.
Yeah, and we'll show them. It doesn't have to be as gross as it
is
for you.
Yes. That's hilarious.
All right, well, on that note, Jackie, can you take us into the post-up?
Yes, with my Listerine fresh breath, I can take us into post-up continued pandemic edition. We just talked about it. The NBA is on its way back, pluses and minuses on both sides, but I think we're all excited for it, at least on some level. So I just want to tell you guys really quick that this is going to be an advantage for some and not others. The Atlanta Hawks, their last game before the lockdown was actually March 11th. That was the day of the lockdown, so that was their last game. So by the time training camp starts on December 1st, they will be coming off an 8.5-month rest. So Trae Young is excited about this restart. He posted this tweet to Twitter basically saying, he's excited to get back. I don't know if we have that tweet, but on top of that, now keep in mind, Trae Young is, just like his name says, he says, good to see the light now because he's ready to get back to work. He's exactly what his name says. He is young. Now, on that same token, the last Memphis Grizzlies game was August 15th. That means by the time their training camp starts on December 1st, they would have 3.5 months off. So still not as much as Trae Young and them is having. And, in school, that's about how long our summer break was 3.5 months. I think if you're young enough to remember that, then this is just no big thing. So not surprised that Ja Morant posted this cute little purple smiling devil emoji like he's ready to get back. He's kind of doing that you ain't ready kind of thing. And I like that for him too. But Trae Young is 22. Ja is 21. So these are younger guys that this break means nothing. Trae Young doesn't even count because he's had the long break. Ja is 21. So this short summer vacation type break is fine for him as well. But then at the same time, maybe it's not age because we all know the Trailblazers, their last game was August 29th. That means they'll have exactly a 3-month break before the December 1st training camp. And Damian Lillard said it time and time again that he's ready to get back to it, and he's 30 years old. So I think it just depends on your body, maybe not your age, maybe how your body is reacting to playing every other day if you were in the bubble. But 3 months is still better than what my Lakers will have, which is a month and a half. So I'm not a big fan of this whole restart right now. But Devin, besides just physical health, and then the quick restart, especially if you're the Lakers or the Heat, you literally only got a month and a half off. What other factors do you think can kind of make some of these, whether they're young or old, some of these NBA players not super excited about this quick restart we're getting?
Well, I think we talked about a lot of it. I mean, the athletes who are going to be free agents are having to go through this escalated process. There's just less time ever to get acclimated to gel well. There's also obviously going to be coronavirus concerns for everybody. I know that the bubble worked, but they were in a confined space the whole time with no people coming in and out. So even though I think people have sort of relaxed their fears on coronavirus, that's still something that's going to be concerning, I think, for everybody when they start playing together again and going back home to their families or going to restaurants or seeing their friends. So I don't know, there's a number of factors at play that can be concerning or frustrating for the people involved.
Yeah, and traveling. That's one thing they didn't have to worry about in the bubble, just the travel aspect of it. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one all plays out. But speaking of basketball, you guys know that one of my personal heroes, Mark Cuban, has decided to be a hero to Delonte West. And fans are pretty excited because he is out here playing basketball again. He was in his facility, and you can see him here kind of just on the court. I love this because he's a basketball player. So this is probably a great way for him to kind of get back into the swing of things. I believe motion creates energy. So this is probably creating some good energy for him, and it's probably nostalgic. So I'm really excited to see this for him. I just hope, when we talked about this before, I hope that nobody is showing him like social media, because when I tell you, social media just kind of went in on this post. I don't understand what's going on with you guys. I don't understand why it's so hard to just be nice, to see a guy that went through really hard times over and over and over again starting to show this ray of hope and like he's getting back together. I don't understand why people are bringing up LeBron James and his mom, or bringing up his drug habit and saying, oh, as soon as he gets out, he's going to be right back to drugs. We don't know that, but we can definitely hope that that doesn't happen. I don't understand the negativity. So I'm just going to post the one good comment that I saw, because again, Mark Cuban is my personal hero, and I totally believe this tweet. It says that he won't brag about it, but Mark Cuban really did save this man's life. And I think that, especially if he stays on this healing road that he's on right now, that's going to be totally true, because we saw it time and time again. We've reported on it here at the Fumble. And it just seemed like he was on a downward spiral. So I'm really excited to see that this man is getting healthy again. I just hope that I know they're not allowed to have like phones and stuff in there. And I just hope no one is showing him social media, because y'all are negative. Anyway, like I said, we're still kind of getting back onto this basketball thing. And this is what you guys wanted to talk about. So here we go. I have said that I am not sure how this dynamic between KD and Kyrie is going to work out. I think those are two crazy egos, and Kyrie is not really ready to be a solid number 2, even though that is his role. But now we have to also see how KD is gonna look on the court. On a side note, we've been talking about how Bradley Beal is going to deal with John Wall coming back, because we all think that that's the Washington's actually his team. But John Wall has been working out with KD. So he and Gilbert Arenas have been working out with KD, and they both say that he is better than he was before his injury, and that we all need to be somewhat afraid. So check out this clip of them talking about what we can expect from KD.
The mindset is the most important. How is he going to start the game off?
You.
Lets me know where he's at this point.
So you saw that, you said,
so as soon as he comes out, he shoots the first 6 shots, goes 5 for 5. Okay.
KD's back.
Yeah, there we go.
And
as soon as he comes down, pop, pop, go. There we go. All right. So both the boys is back. You know what I mean? I know what he's going to do. I'm prepared for it. If he ever decides to just one, I'm done.
I'm fucked. He did it one time that baseline. I was stuck. I thought he was going to call us back. Like, KD started the game, they 5 for 5. If out of 5 of those shots, what was they? A left hezzy.
Yep.
He just roll him to sleep.
Just left hezzy, pull up. Just boom, 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 boom. And then once he was on that, then he goes back to his regular stuff.
Mm-hmm. So basically, KD's about to get y'all with his left and his right. I don't know if you noticed, but John Wall looked a little unnerved by the whole thing. He did not seem super excited that KD looked that good. So I'm just wondering if KD is as good as John Wall and Gilbert are saying that he is. Britt, do you think that Kyrie can kind of acknowledge that and realize that now is his time to be the best Robin he can be, and for him and KD to go out there and do the thing together, and now maybe we should really consider the Nets a big threat, and that this whole ego clash might not even happen?
If he is put aside, the Brooklyn Nets are going to be one of the biggest threats in the Eastern Conference. Like, so if they can get it together ego-wise, they're going to be solid. Like, I think they both have done well with their resting and actually not trying to push themselves too far. Obviously, we've seen KD literally resting, sitting back on social media, just going at people and relaxing like he was told to do by the doctor. And he hasn't because I know sometimes we even comparing it to the Delonte West thing, obviously he's not playing in the league anymore or whatever, but the added pressure you get from seeing stuff on social media and people expecting you to be good and people expecting this from you, I don't think that lived in KD's head 1 second during this whole time. I think he really took his time, making sure he did exactly what he was told to do in his healing process. And so I think Kyrie the same thing. So I don't think they push themselves too much, which is what we've seen Steph Curry do tons of times before, which is what we've seen Derrick Rose do tons of times before. I think they both have really let themselves relax and actually have themselves fully heal. So ego aside, they can come out the beginning of this season and literally be destructive and go crazy. I am sad to see that it is John Wall that is talking about this moment and not Kyrie. Like, I get Kevin Durant is from Washington, so maybe he's John Wall's out there in DC as well. But like, I would have liked to hear that they had been working out a lot together during this off season, just to try to get that gel together and that, camaraderie together and stuff as teammates. Not he's been working out with a guy on another team that's also in the Eastern Conference, So that's the only thing I took from that. But I think if ego aside, they can be great. Really, they can. Because their team is still able to be decent with no stars,
Exactly. And that's my thing. I agree with you 100%. I'm just not sure, especially since, in my LeBron days, I have experienced Kyrie. I'm just not sure if he is ready to really accept that number 2 role. He has always wanted to be on a team where he's the guy. And so I'm not sure he's going to do this.
To that point, I think I really do believe Cleveland was a different thing because Kyrie was drafted by the Cavs. And when he gets to Cleveland, he's the only person there. He's like the Luka, he's like, I'm coming in here. This is my team. And then LeBron comes back to the team and he's like, you left. What are you doing here? Like this is my team now, and then obviously LeBron comes back and takes over the team again, and Kyrie has to take second fiddle, you know? In this situation with Brooklyn, he didn't grow up with this Brooklyn, get drafted to this team, and it wasn't labeled that it was going to be his team, you know? Him and Kevin Durant kind of came there at the same time after Kyrie left the Celtics or whatever. So I think that they hopefully, and Kyrie obviously is older now too. I just think they just coming in together kind of knew that they would probably be, okay, this is a tandem. We're coming in here together to do this instead of this situation that happened in Cleveland. Because I don't really feel like Kyrie was even like that when he was in Boston. I don't think he felt like he had to be this, like, this is my team. Like, everybody has to listen to me. Like, I think he played, for the short time he played there, I think he played well with his teammates, and they kind of learned to deal with stuff together. I just think Cleveland was like a one-off thing because LeBron had left. Kyrie becomes the new little mini king prince there, and then LeBron comes back and takes over, and Kyrie's like, this is supposed to be my team, you know? So I think it's a totally different storyline with Brooklyn.
I feel like Boston, I definitely think he played well, but I thought he played fantastic in Cleveland as well, even though he wanted to be the guy.
Oh yeah, it's just the ego that got the best of him in Cleveland.
But I felt like Boston, because he sat up in an arena full of people and told Boston, I want to be here. But then things didn't go exactly like he wanted them to go, and so he bounced. So I still think he's got a level of ego. But I agree with you. If they can get it together, this is going to be hell for the Eastern Conference, and that would be fun to watch. So we will stay tuned on that one, because that one's going to be fun to see. So this next video is a gem for me, because unless you just know every single person on your team, most of us do not know the names of the punter. It's just not a thing that we know. I've literally seen commentators where the punter has to defend and stop somebody running from getting a big play, and they'll lay this massive hit down, and the commentators will be like, oh, the kicker. And then 5 seconds later, they'll say the name because somebody said it in their ear because they literally did not know. It's just not names that you know a lot. So if you don't know who this person is, let me introduce you to Marquette King. You'll probably start following after this video. Yes, Britt knows him. He was signed by the Oakland Raiders as an undrafted free agent. He led the NFL in punts in 2014, played for the Broncos for a second, but now he's currently a free agent. But like I said, the fumble helps a lot of people out. So if your team is in need of a punter, please consider the following video and go get your boy, because he's ready.
Game time. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Yes, sir.
I have nothing else to say. I think the video speaks for itself.
Yeah.
The man puts it where it's supposed to be. He's going to give your team the best advantage. I'm saying if you need a punter, go get your boy, because he's definitely ready. Now, look, so earlier this week, I told you that if the election news was set to the NFL theme music, it probably would give me less anxiety, because that was a lot of fun, because it's still racking my nerves that we still don't have a result. But that's another story for another day. But I also think that some NBA commentary might help with these slow counting states, because whoever decided to have Mike Breen call the Georgia going from red to blue is my new best friend. This is I can't wait to hear your ladies' takes on this one. So Leo, can you throw that one up there? This one.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot!
That is the best. I just want to get Britt and Devin up there. Like, if we could see every single time a state turns whatever color, if we had Mike Breen out there calling it, would it not be the best thing ever? Would it make this a little bit better mentally for us, Devin?
Yes, it would make it much more palatable, because I think we're all sitting here so anxious and so stressed out, and knowing that could be coming, I think it would make it a lot easier to digest.
Yeah, I would even take Joe Buck at this point. Like, and he's dry as hell, but I would take him at this point just to do it.
Now, somebody, I think, I forgot who it was. Some commentator tried to do something this week and predicts, I don't know if it was Woj or somebody did something, and they got it totally wrong. So I was just like, oh, okay. I don't know, because I was on the bandwagon of maybe let's get some of these personalities that are in sports because we have to be like anime like that to do this kind of stuff. But they like hit the mark, not even close. They were like,
okay, totally off. All right, it's just a thought. I just wanted to throw that idea out there because it helps my mind. So I just wanted to throw that idea out there. So you guys know what's coming next because I say it every single day. I love the kids. I love them so much. So if you want to see a glimpse into who I was as a child, I would like you to check out this little girl because this is literally me as a child.
She seems riled up, bro.
"Is that Devin?"
I love the I'm okay. And the dog was like, bruh, no, you're not. The dad was so slow to react though. And my dad used to do the same thing. I used to fall so many times and my dad would just be like, I'd be like, I'm good. Okay. Like he would never say anything. He would never react. He would just be like, okay, let me come get the bike off your back. But that was it.
Yeah. That's good though, because a lot of times, like, your dad did right, because a lot of times kids cry because they're technically reacting to how you reacted to something happening to them. But if you don't do anything, a lot of times they don't cry. Like my friend posted a video yesterday of her like, it was like the sound effect of her like slapping her kid, but obviously she just put the hand on the baby's face, but the kid heard the slap sound and the kid just started screaming, crying. Like he stopped for a second, just started screaming, crying. It's like a little 2-year-old. And she was like, I did not even slap this kid, but he heard the slap sound and thought he was supposed to start crying.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I saw a similar video on a friend of mine page, and she did the same thing, but she hit the door and like jerked him a little bit so he make him think he hit his head.
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Oh no, are you okay?" And he just kept hitting her hand. He's like, "I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine." Like he didn't want any parts of that babying. It was so cute.
I want to try that with my nephew. I want to see how he reacts, but I would feel so bad if he started crying. I'll post it. I'll post it.
Okay, post that one because we're dying for a Devin post. You know what I'm talking about, but I'll leave it alone.
I did a TikTok of my dog the other day, so if you guys want to see that post where she looks like a little gremlin, you can look at that. But the other post is not going to be showing up anywhere.
Not even close to what we want, but we'll check out the dog if we must. Okay. All right, so that was me as a kid. I kind of want to get to this next one because the way this guy reacts as a parent also was my dad too. He was real silent when I would bite it, but really reactive when I did something really good. And I feel like all the ladies on this panel, if our kids did something amazing, I feel like we would react this way as well. So check out this dad's reaction to his kid doing something really well.
The ball went kind of down.
Ah! Come on, boy! Come here, boy! Good job, boy! Good job, man! There you go, high five!
You would have thought he hit a home run. It's so cute. I love that.
So
I just love kids. Yeah, y'all can count on me to find the kids' videos because that's going to be happening. So speaking of kids' videos, this last one is going to be what we not going to do because that video, both of those kids' videos were posted by SportsCenter because it's just a struggle right now sometimes to find news, sports news. So a lot of these kids are getting attention and I love it, but it is because there's a lack of information that we can actually get out to you guys. And Britt talked about this yesterday and how the lack of sports is kind of far reaching and it's even impacted ESPN because ESPN, as of yesterday, has laid off 300 people and they say they're not going to fill, they have 200 open positions within the company. They're not going to fill those either. So that's like 500 positions technically that are no longer going to be filled. And ESPN chairman Jimmy Pitaro, he said, quote, prior to the pandemic, we had been deeply engaged in strategizing how best to position ESPN for future success amidst tremendous disruption in how fans consume sports. The pandemic's significant impact on our business clearly accelerated those forward-looking decisions. Now, if you guys remember in 2017, they laid off 200 employees. This time they kind of did low-level employees, but when they did that in 2017, that included on-air journalists, radio broadcasters, writers, team journalists, all that. It just did a sweep. So this is a big deal, and I just want us to make sure we understand that yes, this is traumatic. It definitely is because of the sports world and how things have changed in that situation. It's definitely impacted ESPN, but that's not it. That's not the only portion of this that we need to consider, because ESPN is owned by Disney. And so Disney has lost, just from their theme parks being closed, they have lost $5 billion since this pandemic has started. So they've got to make that up in all kinds of different places. They're trying to increase Disney Plus subscriptions. They owned a big part of Hulu, so they're trying to push for people to subscribing to that. They said that they want more movies like Mulan to kind of drive up revenue for their Disney streaming platform. I personally will probably resubscribe once they start The Mandalorian again. But again, what we're not going to do is blame this entirely on, because I've seen some people, I saw this story posted somewhere on Twitter, I forget whose page it was on, but of course underneath it you see all these people, and from this election we know at least it's half of you guys that thinks that the sports world is seeing a hit because of the push for social change within especially the NFL and the NBA. That's not true, because again, MLB they saw a decline in views. They didn't do a big push. The NHL didn't do anything, and they saw the biggest decline in views. So it's just a changing world. It has nothing to do with the social movement that the NBA and the NFL did. It's just a social change, and it's just one of those things that it's affected companies across the board. But it is sad to know that, some of these lower level employees, which are probably people that are living paycheck to paycheck anyway, that now they don't have a job. And on top of that, people who are not going to get an increase in salary probably now have to do jobs for 3 different people. So it's really just a trying time for everyone, because ESPN only employs 4,000 people, which means they have cut 7.5% of their workforce. That's a kind of a big chunk when you think about how you're going to spread out that workload. So shouts out to those people who lost their job. I definitely pray the best for them. Britt, I know you probably have something to say about this ESPN situation. Do you have any thoughts on it?
It is kind of crazy, because just 2 days before ESPN announced that they would be letting go of those 300 positions and 200 open positions, they announced that they were battling with NBC for Sunday Night Football, and they put down this crazy $1 billion thing to take over Sunday Night Football. Like, we know ESPN has Monday Night Football, but they kind of switch every so often. Each station, CBS will get one, NBC, CBS NFL Network, I think, still have Thursday Night Football, but they'll switch up, whoever bids the highest on it. And ESPN put this monstrous deal to get Sunday Night Football. And then a couple days later, they're like, okay, so firing a bunch of people because we're going broke. It's so confusing. And then to your point, clearly they don't think it's because sports are just going down, because they wouldn't be trying to bid on Sunday Night Football to then help get that revenue back up. Obviously it has to do, obviously we know the Disney World is open for a small capacity or whatever in Florida, but it's Florida. But Disneyland, has been closed, and all the other stuff that goes on with just random things that happen have taken hits. Even shows that normally were expected to start coming out for the fall season, a lot of people couldn't go into production, so they don't have these brand new lists of shows that they're airing, and this, that, and the third. And I think it's super crazy. I think I know we get on our channel every single day, the Fumble's dying in this channel, da-da-da-da. No, it's just everything right now sucks for everybody. And this proves it's not just the Fumble, or it's not just ESPN, or it's not just whatever. It's happens to be during a shift of things ESPN's been trying with the ESPN Plus thing, is really what obviously stuff is moving towards, the streaming and the on your phone stuff. And ESPN watches TV anymore. People watch is First Take, which is why Stephen A. Smith is that highest paid guy, because people
Yeah.
watch First Take only. Like, people are looking for personalities, because we all do. We get the news on Twitter in 2 seconds. Everybody knows everything that's going on. We all knew a shift was going to happen in sports, which is why that in 2017 they started firing a lot of the talent people, because they were like, okay, if you don't have a social media following, we got to let go of you. Now everything's moving towards social media. So we need to make sure we're getting people that, which is why they hired on Katie Nolan, who came from Fox, but originally she had a YouTube channel and she was just talking about whatever on YouTube. And then they decided to hire her, and they pay her $1 million a show that I'm pretty sure nobody watches on this panel, or nobody watches in the comments. But she has, you know, like her little nighttime sports show, because they're trying to shift. Obviously, some things are working, some things aren't. But there is just in general in news and sports. I worked for local news. There's just a shift in how people are getting their content and what people see. And so this was going to happen, honestly, regardless of COVID. It was going to happen regardless of Black Lives Matter. It's just, it happened a lot quicker than I think everybody had time to kind of figure out how to replace stuff with. But ESPN is ESPN. They're going to be fine. It's ABC, it's Disney, it's ESPN. They also own, I think, National Geographic, all this. They're going to be fine. Travel Channel, they're going to be fine. You know, like, it's just going to be a new way that we're going to see everything kind of happen. We're probably just going to see the people that are doing social media or Instagram or like their YouTube little clips.
Yeah. Devin, I did want to ask you, you know, to Britt's point that they did put down this, you know, was like $2 million, a lot of money to try to get the Monday Night Football, but in the
$1 billion,
the letter that the $1 billion, the letter that the chairman sent out, he said, you know, he did address that and said we're doing that in an effort to increase revenue. If you were one of the people that got laid off because, you know, money is a problem, and then you find out that they put down all this money to get Monday Night Football, what would you feel like you were betrayed in some way? Would you feel slighted at all?
I mean, I think it would be hard not to feel slighted. You have to understand the company's motivation to do this sort of last-ditch effort, and they're going to prioritize whatever ends up bringing in the most money as opposed to what's going to keep people employed. But I think as an employee, I would definitely feel slighted and betrayed. But I don't know. It isn't to say that I wouldn't be able to, like, understand where they were coming from, I guess, but I don't know. It is tough. It's a tough situation. I feel like we've seen that happen with a lot of companies before, where they do these mass layoffs, and then at the same time they're also investing a ton of money into new projects because they're just trying to figure out something that's going to work and bring in profit. But yeah, I think it wouldn't feel good. That's for sure.
Right. All right.
Turn they might get jobs out of it. Like, if they did get the Sunday Night Football, then they could hire a lot more people on again, you know? So it's like a double-edged sword here. Like, you're mad, but then it's like, maybe I'll get my job back, so I'm not going to talk crap about them right now and wait to see if they get this. Yeah,
for sure. Don't go to social media and vent right now until you know that you for sure out. And then when you for sure out, then you vent. All right, that's all I got for what we not going to do. And now it's time for Britt's takes.
Britt's takes. All right, you guys. Britt done dodged a bullet. And when I say Britt, I'm talking about me. In this instance, I was talking about it in another way with another Britt. You guys know who that is? Brittany Lynn. You guys know I was supposed to be the one that I thought was supposed to marry Patrick Mahomes, because I am Brittany Leanne and she is Brittany Lynn. And I was like, Lord, there was a switch up here. Something bad happened. But I got to remember to trust in the Lord, because woo, did I dodge a bullet. So Patrick Mahomes' mama, Randy Mahomes, you guys might know her. She went on a rant on social media after she realized Trump might lose. So if you guys want to take a look at this, in this first one on the left, or your right, whatever it is, she says, hey, all gas is $1.52. Get it while you can. Won't be like this long. You are welcome to delete me. I'm trying to get my numbers down of idiots. And then in the second one, she said, y'all watching the series. Oh, I was still reading that one. I don't know. Y'all watching the series finale, I think it said, of the United States tonight. Yeah, so first of all, I don't know where you get gas for $1.52. I live in LA. Gas is close to almost $4. So we didn't have $1.52 gas. Y'all in the middle of America might have, but we had $4 gas. So your son also just signed a $500 million contract. So I'm sure he could pay for your gas. I think you'll be okay on that. The second tweet that she posted, if we can get that one up there. Well, she didn't post this. She liked it. So somebody's so scary how this election is going. It's rigged. So she is one of the people that believes that the election is rigged as well. I'm sure she has been out there maybe with the sign that's on one side says stop the vote and on the other side says count the vote, depending on how Donald Trump is trending. And I'm so glad I am not going to be a part of this family. Like, thank you, Lord, for saving me from having this as my mother-in-law, because not only is she married to a black man, she has a black son, and never seen somebody support Black Lives Matter and support Donald Trump in the same breath. But Patrick Mahomes might have done just that. So Patrick Mahomes, we know, was the face of the NFL video that came out with all the players talking about Black Lives Matter and stuff. Is he being a fraud? Or does he totally agree or disagree with his mom? I don't know. I think this is so crazy. I don't think his mom, knowing if her son was against this and not with Trump, would post this, because we know who Randy Mahomes is. It's not like she posted it from a burner account or this, that, and the third. She would have to know that it would trickle down to us thinking that it's her son now a Trump supporter. Like, I don't know. I haven't seen Patrick Mahomes post anything, but now I'm really starting to question the fact that he was really in this NFL video just doing what's right, and then having a whole family over here that's voting for Trump. Like, we know 20% of all black male voters in this election actually did vote for Donald Trump. Thank goodness for black women, because it's like 90% of black women voted for Joe Biden, but black men, there was still 20% that voted for Donald Trump. And I'm wondering if part of that 20% is Patrick Mahomes' daddy, who we all know used to play professional baseball and stuff, or is it also Patrick Mahomes? I'm worried. I don't want that to be the face of the NFL. I'm sure he voted. He did talk about making sure everybody votes, and now I'm confused on who he voted for. Jackie, is Patrick Mahomes a fraud? What are your thoughts here?
My first instinct is going to say, because Patrick Mahomes, and I forget exactly how this first came about, but his initial comments were in support of Black Lives Matter. It wasn't anti-Black Lives Matter, but it was almost kind of like, that's not my issue.
And then he did the video after. Yes.
And then he did the video after. So like I've said on all of my social media, we have to be very cautious, because a lot of this, it has nothing to do with people actually supporting Black Lives Matter. It's about, this is what is the social norm right now, and you don't want to be on the wrong side of things. Right. So I've also said to people, and I'll say it again, who you sleep with does not stop you from being a racist. So just because you love that one specific black person does not mean that you're not a racist. It just does not mean that. I know y'all want it to mean that, but it does not mean that. And her husband, like you said, we don't even know if he's an Uncle Ruckus or not in the situation. So depending on his mindset and her clear mindset, I would venture a guess that this is very much we're going to be Black Lives Matter in the public. We're going to talk mad stuff behind closed doors. And then she just had that moment of, she forgot this is supposed to be a closed door conversation, and she let it out. Yeah. But no, I definitely don't by any stretch of the imagination believe that. I didn't believe it when he did it. When he was in the whole Black Lives Matter NFL video, I felt some type of way. It twinged. It got the hairs on the back of my neck standing up, and I was like, see, this ain't it. This is not it. Same thing with Drew Brees being in it. I get that he's trying to change his ways, but you said what you said. You don't get to be in this video now. So I absolutely positively do not believe that Patrick Mahomes or the Mahomes family are advocates in that regard. And I think they're total frauds because they need to be, because they want to be Patrick Mahomes needs to be the good guy. He needs to be the face of the NFL. And you can't be this crazy, somewhat racist tyrant if you're not that. So I think that he's riding this train of social justice because he needs to, not because he wants to.
Yeah. Devin, I know we talk about, Steph Curry being like the good boy of the NBA and the nice face, but Steph Curry is not one to be on this titter tatter thing. He says what he says, and he just happens to be actually a really good guy, I think. And I think he, sides on the right side most of the time, or if not all the time. So I don't think that he's fake and he's being fake in what he does. I think if he pisses people off by saying voting in Black Lives Matter, he doesn't care. Do you think that this, for Patrick Mahomes being the face of the NFL and having what his mom said and then having him say certain things and then say different things later, could this negatively affect his image in the NFL, or do you think people would overlook this?
Ooh, that's a good question, because I think for people like us, where we do support Black Lives Matter and racial equality so much, I think it definitely does taint the way we view him. But I think for maybe a lot of fans of the NFL and of the Chiefs, it probably won't impact them as much, just based on the history that we've seen with NFL audiences and fans and all of that. So, I mean, for me, it definitely does impact the way I view him. If I were him, I would be mortified and so mad at my mom for posting these kinds of things, because if he does want to maintain this image, he has to keep everyone around him just as clean as he is. Yeah. So I don't know. It does make me think twice. But again, the initial tweets that we saw from him where he was kind of like wishy-washy about things, that alone made me question him and where he stands and what he supports. So I think this does negatively impact him, at least for people like us.
Now, you thinking about it, could you say right now that you think he's a fraud, or do you think that the jury's still out and you're still trying to figure out who is Patrick Mahomes, or do you think maybe he's still trying to figure out who he is?
I don't know. I mean, I sort of feel like I want to believe that he's trying to figure out who he is. I guess I don't want to be like, yeah, he's a fraud. But then again, the writing's on the wall. And I think when somebody shows you who you are, you have to take what they say as the truth. So yeah. I don't know. He seems like a nice kid. But then again, we're seeing stuff that makes me question that. So I'm starting to think that we know exactly who he is.
Yeah, right. And I think Mama Randy Mahomes kind of just proved a lot for a lot of people that were kind of like, oh, well, maybe he is, he did have a change of heart after he spoke to some of his teammates about the Black Lives Matter stuff. But for his mom to be so upset about this Trump thing shows how far, a difference between Republicans, Democrats, and Trump supporters. And Trump supporters are there's no going back for them. There's no persuading them or making them a decent human. That's how I feel anyway. But that is it for Britt's take. Let us know in the comments below what you guys think of Patrick Mahomes' situation. Is he a fraud or not?
Yep. Good question. Okay, you guys, fill us in the chat, in the comments below. Let us know all your thoughts. I will say that the chat was not passing the vibe check for the last 15 minutes. So hopefully the people who are commenting after the fact are going to be a little bit better. But on that note, let's wrap up the show. You guys have a great weekend. Subscribe to our channel. Tap the bell for notifications.
Weekend.
Yes, Jackie. I hope you
gotta sing happy birthday to Jackie. It is Jackie's
Y'all can sing it to me on Monday. Y'all can sing it to me on Monday. That's my actual birthday. Okay, well, we can sing it now. You want to sing it now?
She'll get a double happy birthday.
Yes. Happy birthday now. Happy birthday on Monday again. Happy birthday weekend for Jackie. She really wants Cam Newton to win this weekend for her birthday, and she wants her Saints to win for her birthday. So I will be cheering for both for Jackie.
Yay! All right, you guys, let's get the weekend started. See you guys on Monday. Don't forget to tune in for Weekend Zone tomorrow. Subscribe, tap the bell for notifications. Give this video a thumbs up. Wear a mask. Wash your hands. Bye, everyone.
Be a nice person.
Yes.
Not hard, people.